What is going on, everybody? Sean Davis here for the channel. Welcome back in. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button and subscribe here to the channel for more great content and coverage, especially heading into the February 6th deadline. We are now 6 days away from the NBA trade deadline. We got a little bit of news today, and we're going to start things off with Myles Turner update. It is starting to seem like the Pacers are unwilling to trade Myles Turner. And if anybody they'll trade is gonna be like Obi Toppin, it feels like Myles Turner is kind of an unrealistic get. It was always to a certain extent a pipe dream, but it does kind of officially feel like Myles Turner isn't happening. The Pacers right now are sitting currently in the Eastern Conference as the 5 seed. The Pacers are only half a game back of the 4 seed. The whole thought process of, them potentially trading Myles Turner would be due to the fact that they were to pay Myles Turner this summer. They would then fall into the second tier apron. So the Pacers could have ran into some potential potential second tier apron troubles that we know how much those how much those can hard cap teams around the league currently. Not entirely, but it does make team building and roster building all that much more difficult. So it does seem like they are out of the Myles Turner race. It does seem like Myles Turner is going to get traded unless something miraculous happens over the next 6 days. Speaking of which, next 6 days, next Thursday, trade deadline day, I'll be live here on the channel for a 3-hour live stream from 11 o'clock Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. And then if any trades happen at the final minute, I'll have a video immediately after that trade drops. So make sure you guys subscribe here to the channel, turn on post notification bells. This is the best time of the year for Lakers content and coverage. As this team now sits as the 5 seed, they are half a game back of the 4 seeded Denver Nuggets. They're just 4 games back of the 3rd seeded Memphis Grizzlies, and they are 4.5 back of the Houston Rockets at the 2 seed. The Denver Nuggets have now lost 3 straight. The Lakers schedule over this next stretch. Specifically, we do have a little bit of an injury update here. This upcoming stretch is going to be interesting because, we'll start things off here. For the Lakers, JJ Redick is optimistic that both Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent will be able to return against the Knicks on Saturday. And then you get a couple of days off. I mean, it feels like a rarity at this point for the Lakers to get multiple days off in between games. Then they come back to LA and they go to into a dome, play the Clippers, and then you got the Warriors, and then you got the Pacers on February 8th, first game after the deadline. It feels like that may be some of a rough estimate for an AD return, I would imagine. It doesn't seem like it's going to be an extended absence for Anthony Davis. JJ's kind of alluded to that. And some of the stuff that I think they feel relatively confident that Anthony Davis will be able to make a return. I'd even say before the All-Star break. So again, looking at Indiana, maybe you have a back-to-back against the Utah Jazz. Or they could just hold him out entirely and say, hey, AD, we have a ridiculous stretch after the All-Star break. Come back after that, get your foot and everything all the way cleaned up. And then we'll just see you after the All-Star break. So that's also within the realm of possibility. But it is optimistic to hear that Anthony Davis is gearing up for a return. He should be back sooner rather than later. Because, guys, I'm sure you guys have seen it. I'm going to pull it up. This schedule is absurd. So this is your post-deadline schedule. I mean, your post-All-Star break schedule. You have a back-to-back with the Hornets in Portland. Then you have Denver. Then you have a couple days off. Then you go to Dallas. Then you have Minnesota. Back-to-back. Second half of back-to-back gets the Clippers. You play the Clippers again. Pelicans, all right. Who knows what the Pelicans have at that point? They're now in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes all of a sudden. Then you have the Knicks. Then you have Boston. Then you have Brooklyn. Then Milwaukee. Second half of back-to-back. You have the Denver Nuggets. Then you have Phoenix. Second half of back-to-back. You have the San Antonio Spurs. Then the Nuggets again. Second half of back-to-back. You have the Bucks. Then the Bulls. Like this schedule, you still have 2 more games with OKC. You have a late season matchup with the Dallas Mavericks that could potentially decide some seeding. Who knows if Luka's back here by February 25th. This schedule is going to be a gauntlet, and that's why you absolutely have to take care of these 4 games right here. Utah twice, Charlotte, Portland. You cannot afford to drop those 4 games. Brooklyn, Chicago twice, excuse me. You got to get Portland again. You got to get all these heavy hitters out of the way. I mean, all these games that you're supposed to just stack up out of the way. Because good grief, man, this team they're going to go through a gauntlet, and it's, no AD, and you're going to be in trouble regardless, I think, by not having Anthony Davis. But getting Dorian Finney-Smith back, getting Gabe Vincent back, I think we've seen recently how much this team actually kind of relies on Gabe Vincent from a secondary guard and just secondary point of attack option. Now, Shake Milton did have his best game of the season, or of his young season with the Lakers, 21 points last night against Washington Wizards, against a really, really actually historically bad Wizards team. Like, that Wizards team might be worse than the Pistons team last year. Like, I like Jordan Poole. I like some of their young guys like Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington. They have some fun pieces. But in terms of on-court product, that team might be worse than last year's Pistons team, and that's saying a lot. Pistons lost 27 games last year. Wizards I think they've lost 16 in a row. So Lakers getting some guys healthy. Anthony Davis is not going to be out for too much longer, it seems. So good news there out of Lakerland. I want to end off here with some stuff about Bronny, right? Because the Bronny thing, by the way, played well. He got an and one last night. Got some MVP chance, if I recall correctly, which is cool in general. I think, no harm, no foul in Washington. 5 points last night for Bronny. This is the thing that's kind of driving me crazy, and this is specifically like directed at the national media. Because for one, and I know people are going to say, well, Sean, you were kind of critical of the pick too. I was critical of the pick because I had players higher graded. Like, no, I think Jalen Willis had just gotten taken. I need to refresh my memory on who was still on the board by the time the Lakers had been picking at 55. 55, yeah, okay, not even Kevin McCullough, but no, not really. So there are a couple of undrafted guys. Yeah, Jalen Willis went way earlier than I just mentioned. There are a couple of undrafted guys that I like, but that I did have higher on my board than Bronny. That was my critique of the Bronny pick. But it is ignorant and foolish as hell to just pretend that there is not a functional skill set there with Bronny. Like, if it was Colin Coward, it was like, well, your dad's LeBron. You're not going to see Jalen Hurts have his son out there playing running back because of Philadelphia Eagles. Blah, blah, blah. First off, that is a just absurdly stupid comparison. Talk about Jalen Hurts, the 13th or whatever best quarterback in football, I don't know, against arguably one of the greatest players of all time. And we're not talking about meaningful minutes. We're not talking about meaningful minutes with the Bronny thing. I would get some of the argument. You have screaming A. Smith after the Sixers game. LeBron is a father. Stop, please. Guys, we're talking about a 4-minute stint early in that game where Bronny didn't look great. And the reason why they played Bronny over Shake Milton is because Shake Milton looked terrible. Didn't have Gabe Vincent. Shake Milton had legitimately not been playing well heading into that Philly game. And JJ, I thought, explained why he played Bronny. See if we can create a spark. Need some energy. Bronny's coming. He plays hard at the very least. Did it materialize into positive on-court product in that moment? Not necessarily. But to pretend like there is not a skill set there at all, and that Bronny is not going to be or could not be a pretty damn decent rotation player in the next couple of seasons is ignorant as hell. And you're just using that as hate towards LeBron. When it's very clear, in my opinion, that Bronny, and by the way, Colin also said he's never seen a 6'2" guard not being a point guard before. Okay. That literally doesn't make sense. But sure. Anyway, with Bronny in the next couple of years, he's a athletic guard that in theory can shoot, that is a really high basketball IQ player that can defend. That's a 12 to 15 minute, that's a 12 to 15 minute rotation player in 2 years. And ignoring that and pretending that he just has no utility whatsoever in the league, maybe not right now. I'm not saying he's an NBA rotation player right now. It's the 55th damn pick. Nobody cares. You know how lucky you got to be to get a rotation player, a 20-minute per night rotation player. Lakers struck gold with Austin Reeves, for an example. They've struck gold with Max Christie, for example. Max Christie, if he goes back to college, he was in the 50s. But Max Christie, if he goes back to school, was projected to be a first-round pick the following year, his sophomore season. And then Austin Reeves could have got taken like the 40s by Detroit, or maybe it was the late 30s. He could have got taken away earlier by Detroit, but he didn't want to go to Detroit. So you know how lucky you got to be to land a rotation player in year one at the 55th pick? The shooting's inconsistent. He's not this absurdly good ball handler. But, like, can he be some version of Gabe Vincent? Yeah. It's just disingenuous to ignore that. So excuse my mini rant. I'll have a full trade deadline preview talking about some targets I want the Lakers to go after in a couple of days. I'll probably drop Sunday night or Monday morning. So let me know what you guys see here on the channel. Let me know what you guys think about all my thoughts and rants in the comment section below. I'm Sean Davis. Make sure you follow me on X at Sean_DAVI. As always, go Lake Show. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.